Can you hear that?
Is that recording in progress?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. All right. I'll
Yeah.
switch to us now. Amen. Three, two, one.
Good evening, podcast world, and all those folks listeners out there to us live. Time for another episode of Things My Mother Never Told Me. Brandon, say hello to the peoples.
Hello, peoples. Happy New Year to the peoples.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Well, it's been a minute.
Sometimes it happens that way.
This time it had to. So much has been going on over the last few months.
Yes.
We got a nice, refreshing break from the action, if you will.
Mm-mm.
Hey, we got a new president coming in.
Oh, dear.
A new old president. And ooh,
A
ain't
new
that going
old
to be
one.
fun? I hear all the pundits say they're going to sit back and watch and see what happens.
See what happens.
Yeah, I think they said FA. What was that? How's that go? FAFO. Yeah, yeah.
You stumped me.
You don't know what that is?
Uh-uh.
Like mess around and find out.
Oh.
Say they done messed around, now they about to find out.
They about to find it out. You hear me?
Right,
So
right,
stand 10 toes down on your vote. Respectfully, I don't want to hear you fussing and complaining. If that was what you decided to choose and do,
right.
yeah, just stick by it until times get better for you.
That's right. And so that means it's not time for us to sit around and not do anything either. We need to
Mm-hmm.
keep it moving.
Because
Make sure
4 years go by fast.
yeah, yeah, make sure we are productive during this time of whatever it is that they're doing. President Musk is getting firmly seated in, so we're going to watch and see what happens. But until then,
Until such time.
let's talk about something that I guess we go through every year.
Mm-hmm.
At least some of us do, and that's it's a new year, and they say new year, new you, right? So everybody comes in with their resolutions, uh, pledging to change some of the things that they didn't like about themselves last year, some things that they want to be different, pledging to make that happen into the new year. And as you and I were talking before we got started, the number of people making resolutions has decreased substantially throughout the years. And what was that number you were telling me?
They were saying of people that make resolutions, about 45%. Um, only 80% of those people report that they've actually accomplished whatever it is they set out, to do.
Right. And I was looking at a story on the news today, and they, if I got this date correctly, they were saying that I believe it's the second Friday of the new year is, as a rule, the date that the majority of people have already broken their resolution.
I mean, that's not far in at all when you think about it. That's a
Well,
week
when you make promises
in general,
to
right?
yourself, it's kind of hard to keep them, and I think usually we tend to fall off immediately,
Mm-hmm.
more so than later, because it's just too hard. And the worst part about it is I don't know why we wait till January the 1st, like I said, new year, new you, right? Why we have to wait till then? It's like somebody has something they want to fix. Like I want to start working out, and I come up with this idea in November. Why do I have to wait until January to start working out? Makes no sense.
I think about it. I've thought about it in kind of all shapes, forms of resolutions when I kind of, decide if that's what my plan is.
Hmm.
Um, and it's almost like how people will say, "Oh, I got to get myself together before I go to Christ." Before I turn my life, I got to get myself together.
Right,
Like
right,
so, it's
right.
this period of, "Oh, I got to get myself ready before I make this big change," instead of saying, giving yourself grace to say, I might fail and I might need to start again. I might need to start 5 times over.
Right,
But
right.
if I'm at least taking that first step to start,
Yeah.
how much further along sometimes we would be in goals or resolutions or anything that we say we're going to do if we just take a step toward it to start doing it.
Right.
I
And
preach.
right, go ahead, right.
I preach to my team all the time. I'm like, in your script, you're supposed to say X, Y, Z, right? When you don't say it on 50% of your calls, you're not practicing a habit. You're not giving yourself a chance to just, it becomes second nature to you. So
Right.
if I'm going to say I'm going to stop eating bread, then, I gotta not eat bread until I don't go to reach for bread. You know what I'm saying? Or make a conscious decision to make a better choice for me.
Right, right. Because ultimately when we give ourselves time to start the new habit,
Mhm.
what we're really doing is giving ourselves more time to
To
practice the
get
old
deeper
habit.
in it. Yes,
And
yes.
so the more we keep doing the stuff that we're trying to get away from, that, let's be real, all usually feels good to us, or we just like it. The
Mhm.
more we do that, the less we're going to want to stop doing it. And so, like you said, we need to be go ahead and just do it now. And if we fail, okay, so what? I mean, I shouldn't say fail. If we slip up,
Yeah.
okay, well, we human, we slip up, but we need to go right back into, if I start today and I say I want to do something over a 2 week period and I mess up today, then tomorrow starts the 2 week period over again
Yeah.
and just keep on doing it
Being in
because,
the cycle of doing it. Yeah. Until it's in you to do. And then sometimes we also have to be realistic to say, maybe that's not a realistic first step to just go cold turkey with something. I'm sure. And I have I don't have much knowledge about, addiction and how people overcome and step 1 through 12 and all these
right,
programs. But I'm sure they would tell you, like, if you're outside of a medical reason to stop something cold turkey, right? Like there's preparation, mental, you have to reframe your mind, you have to change.
hmm,
All of that goes, into it. It's just not like,
right,
oh, I'm out to up and stop smoking cigarettes. Now, granted, people may have that testimony that they've done so or they were able to do it, but sometimes people have to be realistic. Like, hey, I'm smoking a pack a day. Maybe if I just cut down every day, shave down, I
right,
can,
right.
do
Eventually, I'll be there.
yeah, and eventually I'll be there again. But with the grace of God and support people around you, you sometimes you can make drastic changes, especially when they're absolutely necessary. I know for like health reasons and things. But a lot of stuff just takes determination, practice, putting it into what you have to do. I think
Right,
we don't also talk about often the adversities that we face when we make commitments to do anything, right? So what's
right,
your plan, right? I'm going to do this. If I don't, what does that look like? What, do I reframe it? Do I change it? Do I modify it?
yep, yep,
How do I approach it so that I am successful in something that I can't count it all as a loss or I wasted my time?
right,
So I think along with making goals and resolutions, we need to say, okay, maybe this straight line didn't work. What about if I go this way around here and I still get to the goal?
hmm,
They talk a lot about that in process change management and stuff. And it's like, hey, this is what we're used to doing. But if we think about it in a different way and we still get there, isn't that still counted as a success, right? We didn't
right,
fail. So we
right.
got there. It just looked different how we got there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, didn't don't you with your team, don't you use the SMART approach as they call it?
Yeah, most times. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times that's where we fail because we don't think that applies everywhere, and when in fact it does.
It
A-
can. Yep.
And the biggest part of that is we got to be able to measure, we got to be able to measure whether we did or didn't do it, but it's got to be something that we can do or not do. So attainable, realistic, and then timely. So there's a time frame. What's that first? I knew the first S when I first said it. What's the first S?
For smart,
Smart. The S of smart. Is it?
sustainable? No.
No. Is it? I don't think it's simple. I don't remember. Yeah, I have to look.
Specific.
Specific. Specific. That's what it is.
Yep.
So right. So we have to choose something that we know what it is.
Yeah.
We know going in what we're trying to do. And in fact, we're going to have somebody on the show hopefully in a couple weeks is going to talk about the goals that she had set for herself last year. And how she attained them, what she did, and then how she's moving forward with those goals. So that should be interesting because it's one of those things that helps folks with their in fact, she's doing a weekly, is it daily blog, 5 minutes, she coming out talking about her progress and where she's going. And that's something that I think a lot of people need to hear.
Yeah.
Because also, if you want to be successful, you need to surround yourself with people who are rooting for your success. Because some folks, they won't hesitate to jump in and help you fail.
Oh, that's so simple to do, and sometimes done in the most not overt ways, right? It's subtle,
Hmm.
but and I don't want to say sometimes unintentional, but you, the small things that you don't realize could be impactful for you.
Right,
You're like, you look back and be like, dang, if they hadn't planted that seed, I would have never thought that I couldn't, right?
right,
I would have just always thought that I could do it, but
right.
there was a seed planted along the way that made me question it, pause, whatever. And before I knew it, I let that grow instead of
Yeah,
ignoring that and blossoming and growing in a different way.
right,
So yeah.
right. And the worst part, though, to me, the worst part, but it's probably just human nature, is that we are so dependent upon the support or reliance on other
Mm-hmm.
people to help us keep our goals. Sometimes we need to be able to be independent in our mission because everybody's like everybody's not going to root for you. They may say they will, but they are not going to root for you.
Are
And
they
so,
gonna get tired,
yeah,
right? And you can't bank on them not being tired or going through their own stuff.
yeah,
You have to still push. Like, oh, okay, my cheering corner might be a little quiet, but I'm pushing,
right,
pushing myself.
right. Well, like, what if you want to stop smoking and your friends smoke?
Mm-hmm.
What if you want to stop drinking and your friends drink?
Everybody runs drinking.
Now, just because you want to stop doing those things does not mean that they want to.
Yeah.
Now, they may need to, but it doesn't mean they want to. So now, do we expect them to stop doing it because you want to stop doing it?
Mm.
And so you have to be able to separate yourself from them. It's like they say in the church. It's they expect that it's hard for you to be saved and be around sinners.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact of the matter is, we're around sinners every day.
Now you're gonna
And
disconnect yourself from yourself. I mean, not as a sinner, you think I'm practicing sin, right? But
right,
I'm by myself. I mean, I'm myself, and I'm gonna fall short at some point. So I
yeah,
can't remove me from me.
right. Well, you know the thing is, if you remove yourself from other people and just stay by yourself, and you become successful, what are you going to do when you get reintegrated to other people? Because
It's gonna
obviously
be
you weren't
hard to.
strong enough on your own to do it in the midst of all the chaos around you. So then what are you going to do when the chaos comes back? Are you going to fall back into those bad habits and things, or are
Mm,
you going to remain strong?
yeah, I think about like you know, weight loss surgeries, and I hear about all these rules they have to, do, and depending on what kind of procedure or surgery or whatever it is they had, they have to completely change like their diet and things like that.
Right,
And the moment they don't, you see it immediately. You see
right,
whatever they weren't supposed to be doing, that they've now started doing it,
yeah,
or something's gone awry because the effects are right there.
right,
There are other things that we can't immediately see, that like you working on, I'm working on internal things, I'm working on these things. Eventually they'll produce an outward demonstration of it, but not all the time can we
right,
immediately see what we would call progress or somebody making change, or differences. But eventually, they show up, whether it's, oh, I'm gonna start trying to have a better attitude. That's going to show up differently when people are in places and you are approached with a situation where you could have a bad attitude. Nobody's got to make a big scene or notice about it, but we are looking like, oh, look at this person. They done say something different, right? Then Debbie Downer not being down.
right, right, right.
Debbie providing the hope. Dwayne providing the hope. He used
Yeah.
to bring us all down. Now there's hope. There's a change that can be recognized. So
But
yeah.
the real quick the thing about it though is that the person who was the down, the one who always brought everybody down, when they start trying to be positive,
We can't be talking,
we can't.
pointing it out.
Well, for the most part, folks don't believe them.
Yeah, yeah.
They just talking. So what was you about to say?
One of the other things when I kind of just threw in Google, like, resolutions, where did they come from?
Hmm.
It was talking about like way back for I forgot how long ago. I ain't gonna make up a number because I probably would be lying. But it was like Babylonians, a lot of their resolutions was to, their gods or to these things that they wanted to please, right? And nowadays we've changed to kind of, it's a self thing when we make resolutions sometimes, that it's not so much about, oh, we're all gonna do better for the environment so that we can have clean air, right? It's like, oh, I'm gonna do this for me. Sometimes it becomes selfish. So the article was just, mentioning like a lot of times that could be the reason why some people aren't successful, because they're created out of selfishness. And I was like, well, I guess I could see that depending on the circumstance. But again, if you're just trying to better you, ultimately, I think when we better ourselves, the people around us, recognizing they are better, this is places we go, we make change in those, areas as well in our lives. So I don't think it's a bad thing that our, resolutions or goals can kind of be self-pointing.
I think they have to be selfish though,
Yeah,
because and selfish to the point that you're not hurting anybody else.
right.
Because if you to work on improving yourself, you have to have a little bit of selfishness. Because, like we said earlier, there are some other folks don't care about you being a better person. The person you go drink with every day don't care about you stop
Mhm.
drinking. They just care about having a drinking buddy. So we have to be real careful that we know it has to have a large degree of selfishness, but it can't be harmful to other people as well. And excuse me, not harmful in the way that you are not intentionally doing anything to them. You're improving yourself, but you're not doing anything to them. Now, whatever their mental state is with you trying to get better, that's something totally different. That's
How
on
it's
them.
perceived again. Yep. What that looks like. Oh, I may not hang out as often. So now somebody could interpret that as a conflict. Now that you creating this distance to better you, and yeah. So there's
Right.
extra layers and all that go with that too.
I when you was talking about, I pulled this thing up about resolutions versus intentions,
Mm-hmm.
and it says that there are both ways to set goals, but they differ in a few key ways. So the focus, resolutions are usually more specific and quantitative, while intentions are more qualitative and open-ended.
Okay.
Resolutions often are focused on smaller goals like exercising more, cutting down on sugar. Intentions can be broader and may relate to relationships, careers, self-improvement, or travel. And so then the way we approach the two of them, resolutions are strict and firm decisions. Intentions are more adaptable and allow for growth. Resolutions can feel like an impossible burden and can lead to negative thoughts about your current situation. Intentions are more compassionate and can help you feel less pressure to create a change. Excuse me. And then the time. Resolutions are often one and done, while intentions can be set daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly. And then the mindset. Resolutions can focus on what you lack, while
Mm-hmm.
intentions can highlight what you have.
Okay.
Resolutions can contribute to feelings of good or bad, success or failure. Intentions can help you be present and bring meaning into your life now. And that's interesting.
That is.
You know,
Yeah.
I
I'm gonna
guess,
have to look at that.
yeah, I guess the time, the one and done, and I guess that's true. A resolution, I'm want to do this, or I'm not, don't want to do this. Once you do it,
Mm-hmm.
over. Whereas intentions can change, or you can change your focus on them.
intention, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what
But
I one thing I said this year. I was like, oh, it's been a while since I think I've like literally written anything down. I was like,
mm,
but this year I'm not gonna force myself to have it all done by the first of the year, first week, whatever it is. But I want to be more intentional with setting goals.
hmm
So I think that in itself is like it's like, oh, willy-nilly. No, like, no, what are you looking for long term, short term? What's something that's stopping you or that you've noticed stopped you in the past, and really like lay it out so that your vision is clear. Like
right.
you know where you're going. It's easy to kind of, and and it's funny, I can't even think of the word, but I'm a freestyle type of person. I'll on the fly, I can, go with it. And
Right.
I think so for so long that I've allowed myself to function in that way.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what does it look like to really say, hey, here's what I want to do by this date I want to have this much money saved, or by this date I want to have this done or this completed, a
Right.
goal to check off, right? Because sometimes for people that is motivation to see you have a checklist and those things being crossed off that you've done them. That creates motivation. For others that may look like panic, right? Like, oh my God, I'm 4 weeks in and I've not crossed off a goal. So it just
hmm
depends on the person, the personality type, as well, how
Right.
people set out to make resolutions, goals, be intentional in all of that.
And
Um,
and and and
there's
that's
no one recipe.
right. And that's what I was thinking as you were talking and I was reading that I guess goals are the what we're shooting for.
Mm-hmm.
A
Yeah.
specific thing. That's our goal. How we go about it then determines whether it's a resolution. But the thing about it though is that I think in order to be successful, it has to be intentional. You have to know that you're trying to succeed, and you have to be flexible enough to change, like for lack of a better phrase, change ships in the middle of the stream
Mm-hmm.
or change boats in the middle of the stream. You have to be able to change your methodology in order for you to get where you're trying to go. Because when you start out with your resolution, what you think may not be the best way to get to it. And you won't really know that until you get into it. And so I think intention is key because that's what we want. That's what the goal is, but we want to get to that goal. We want to make sure we get to that goal. We resolve to do something because we just said, okay, I'm tired of doing whatever I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm resolving to do something different. And this is what it is. And but then we have to be intentional
And the way to get there.
in the way to get there.
Yeah.
So they all tie in together. It's just the
How we break down the
nuances.
language. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, our listener Cheryl Dixon Tyler says selfishness sometimes is needed to protect self.
Right.
Indeed.
It is. Because I won't say nobody, but many people, when it comes to the pecking order of protecting,
Mm-hmm.
you ain't at the top of their list. Heck, you're lucky if you're at the top of your own list.
And I was gonna say that. That's what I thought you were about to say. But yes,
Yeah.
that is true.
Right.
There's
So,
so many people that they are not, the top of their list, whether it's how they were raised, brought up.
mhm,
I'm sure that looks different when you have children, when you have a partner. Like I'm sure that looks, so different. But it's a thing that we hear often about, put your seatbelt on first or put your life vest on first
right.
before you helping people.
Yeah.
And how often is it true that you haven't considered yourself sometimes when you're,
Right. Right. Well,
making choices or making decisions?
well, this is kind of on point, but it's kind of off of it as well. I was looking at this meme or this little video on TikTok, and it talked about Christmas being a father and how they gave him some junk for gifts. It was in a box. The box wasn't wrapped, wasn't sealed, and in fact, there was nothing useful in the box. It was used stuff. They had some socks in there that didn't match. gave him a pair of boots that they bought at the dollar store or should I
Mhm.
say at a flea market or something. And, hit, this is what you got. Meanwhile, under the tree were all these gifts that he had a major hand in getting for them and everybody, making sure everybody had what they had. And ultimately, his happiness comes from other people being happy and
Mhm.
not from him being happy. And a lot of times we don't see how the two play together. Father's Day is like they did a list of the 20 top holidays, and
Yeah.
Father's Day was like real close to being number 20. If it wasn't Arbor Day was ahead of Father's Day.
Oh, wow.
Not Thanksgiving, Halloween, which is not a holiday. I don't know why people keep trying to call Halloween a holiday,
You know,
but Father's Day is way, way down on the list of things because the price of fatherhood is often uh, not being taken care of. I'll put it that way. You get what's left over. And so the same goes true for us and our resolutions, our intentions, our goals, is that a lot of times, and that so it's not just for fathers, but that's the gold standard is for all of us, is that we have to be sure that we can be happy who we are. A lot of times, and that so it's not just for fathers, but is that you and me? I heard you talking.
uh, I muted.
Okay. Well, it came up. But so
Okay.
we have to be careful that our happiness is not rooted in other people's actions because we're going to be disappointed most of the time. And so we have to be real careful with that. And so it's true with resolutions and all and goals for the new year.
Mm-hmm.
The we have to make sure the list of goals and resolutions that we put for ourselves, everything on that list is me centric.
Yeah.
And now the byproduct of me being a better me,
Mm-hmm.
everybody
Yeah.
else achieve what they want to achieve, but I can't, you know, every now and again I can, but for the most part, I can't put
A
my
bunch of
stuff
other
on hold
people's. Yeah.
to make
To
sure your stuff
prioritize their list.
right. And so that when you get to parenthood, that's when it becomes a real test of who you are because them kids didn't ask to come here. And for the most part, they can't fend for themselves. So we have to make sure that we carve out a spot for that
Mhm.
to happen, while at the same time carving out a spot for our whatever it is to happen.
Yeah.
And so it becomes troublesome. But one thing for sure, making a New Year's resolution ain't the way for the most part. It's not the way. It can be the starting point, but it ain't the way. I was trying to find this thing that I saw on Facebook earlier. Uh, then they was talking about resolutions versus goals, and they said don't make resolutions, make goals, and had a list of goals for each area of your life.
Okay.
For your work, your health, your mindset, uh, and so forth, and family, and so forth and so on. And it showed a bunch of things that each person should try to improve in their life to make their life better. Because you know, for years, what was the number one resolution everybody had for years, and it probably still is now? They're going to work out more. I
Yeah.
want to get healthy. That's the number one resolution that people have. But I go back to what we said earlier. But we wait till January 1st. If you go look at the records, gyms, their membership rate goes up in January.
Yeah.
And around about March, people are trying to figure out how to get out of that membership.
Yeah. How do I cancel this? I done blew through my free trial. I'm not really still coming here. How do I?
Yeah,
Yeah. Is there some other perk or benefit I can get from this to now make it worth it?
right. because this is what's real funny. How reasonable is it to expect that you're going to get up and go to a gym to work out, 3, 4 times a week? And a lot of people do it.
They
Right.
do.
A lot of people do it, but how reasonable is it to expect that you're going to do that, especially if you have the same stuff in your house? You
Yeah.
got the kettlebell weights and
Hmm.
dumbbells and then weights and you maybe have treadmill and all that stuff, but you don't use it at home.
Yeah, that's always been my secret way to get out of people talking about go to the gym. I'm like, until I go to the gym that I pay for in my monthly rental fees for free, it's not really free. I pay for it there, but whatever. I'm not paying no additional costs that I
Mm,
can see. Until I make use of that, I'm not paying to go somewhere that I'm not going to go.
right. Y'all got a facility on site. Yeah,
And
we do
they've
too.
redone it and decked it all out and all this
Right.
good stuff. And I ain't seen it. I can't even tell you what it looked like now
Right.
since I did the tour 5 years ago. Okay,
We,
so
I was using ours until COVID.
yeah.
I was using it sporadically. I wasn't using it, and they've redone the whole thing. They
Hmm.
redone the whole thing. I'm so late. And it can't be nothing but lazy that I don't even want to walk, especially this time of year when it's cold, over to the
Two there.
clubhouse to
Yeah.
work out. Nor do I want to drive over there because that makes no sense to me either. That makes even less sense to drive over there. But and then the worst part is I got the little weights in here that I could use.
Electric field, yeah.
I ain't got a whole lot of space to use them in,
But you could start.
but I could
Like I could
start.
trust myself if I started. If I put on a YouTube video and did some in place motion or something,
Right,
right, I could trust myself not to go around the corner to the clubhouse.
right,
Okay, and I do that and I get serious about it. Okay, maybe I'll invest in somebody that's a trainer, a meal prepper, or somebody that's going to help me, just add to that of what I'm already doing. But to
hmm
take that and go aim it, and that's another thing. Stop making these aimless goals. Oh, we just see something somewhere talking about, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that too. Okay, why? What does that do for you? Like your goal, we go back to being selfish or thinking about you. Aside from it being cool or the new fad or whatever's hip and popping right now, what is that doing for you? Right? We set ourselves up for failure knowing some of this stuff we shouldn't be out here doing,
right,
entertaining. Oh, almost went down a tangent, but glad I didn't. See, I'm changed already in the new
right,
year.
right. But I mean, the sad truth of the matter is that there are things that everybody wants to change about themselves. Everybody. And there are people who they probably chugged along for a few years and straddling the fence and not doing
Mm-hmm.
it. They decided to do it. Because I've seen some people, I know some people who, if you look at the before and after, you'd be like, wow. Along for a few years. But some of us don't. What does it take to get to the point where enough is enough? And so whatever change I'm trying to make, I need to make. Like it could be something as simple as just not spending a whole lot of needless money.
Yeah, that eating out, that door dashing, all those things that we do just without an added thought.
Yeah. And for what, and usually, I guess most people don't make a change until it absolutely have to be made.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that be health wise or you get in a bad financial situation, then that's when we finally make a change.
Or
But
seem
just
like
like
I go a
that,
little quicker.
yeah. But just like that weight loss surgery, once we made that change, do we stay with that change? Because I know some folks who had the surgery, and within 6 months, they were right back where they started at.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
And
because
yeah,
it's
God forbid you had to put any money into that and it wasn't fully covered by your insurance.
right, and you go and you put your body through all that, and then
Mm-hmm.
you go right back and bring yourself back into the same situation. See, so now you don't need a physical change, you need a mental change.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. We need to stop, we need to stop subjecting ourselves to stuff that is harmful and hurt. Real simple. When you look at people who live a certain way, and then you look at your own situation and say, well, I make more money than them. How come I'm not living that good?
Mm-hmm.
And on that side of the fence, the people who are living that good, some of them are doing it very comfortably,
Yeah.
and other ones are doing it simply because they in so much debt.
They have to be on a.
Yeah, they're making living good look easy when it's really killing them because they're stressed out when they're gonna pay the next how they're gonna pay the next bill, hoping the lights don't get cut off the whole shot.
Yeah.
Can I put gas in the car this week? But then you got other folks who can live that because you gotta set your budget in such a way that it makes it easy for your lifestyle to not for your life to not be stressed.
Mm-hmm.
Because stressful living is bad living.
Ooh, that is.
Yeah. So we have to really, really be careful how we handle all that stuff. So I don't know.
And by all accounts of this, we are not saying don't make goals and don't set resolutions and don't be intentional. We're just saying, as you go to do that, even if you've already wrote it down and put it on a vision board and put it in a journal and wrote it all out, maybe you heard something here today that gives you a new set of eyes to go back and revisit it and change it, to review it. Or maybe you say, you know what, y'all talking good, that's cute, but I'm got what I'm doing and that's what I'm gonna do. If in fact, by chance, if ever it does not work out, we're saying when you get to that point, then take a look at it. Why didn't it work? Don't let it become a stumbling block. Don't let it discourage you. Don't get stuck there, you know, if it does not work out. Now it's just time to revisit the plan, revisit the goal, revisit the intention, and restructure it, make it better. Or by all means, try again exactly how you tried it and maybe do some things differently along that way. I
Right.
don't know. But certainly I think goals, being intentional, all of that is helpful for us. It creates in some ways for us structure. Sometimes people need that. Like I said, I'm a freestyle type of person. I'm just a procrastinator by choice by day and a procrastinator by night as well. It's a full day's work for me. I've convinced myself that I work best under pressure, but
Right.
why should
Right.
I need to do that when I
Right.
could literally sit down, make plans, use a calendar or scheduler to plan things out so that worry where I'm flustered at come the 12 a.m. deadline when I could be with my feet kicked up, enjoying the fruits of the labor that I've done this
Right.
whole time to prepare for it to be completed and at its best.
But that's because we all we want to flow through life, right? And so the easiest way to flow through life is to procrastinate.
Mm-hmm.
But then it comes to the point where now you got to do it. So now you're stressed out.
Yeah.
Real quick, do you know what the number one that I've seen, the number one new thing for this year, this impending year?
Mm-mm.
Everybody's well, they because they sell them on Amazon like crazy, and these other little sites come and sell them. Where people are doing the 100-day challenge,
Okay.
basically, because you either create your own envelopes or you buy a little book with the little pads in there.
Okay.
Basically, $1 for the first day, two for the second,
$2.
and on and on and on.
Okay.
And so that's what everybody's getting off into. And because it's supposed at the end, if you do the 100-day thing, you can save $5,050, I think,
Okay.
at the end of 100 days. But what people don't realize is that on the 100th day, you have to put $100 in the envelope. And so on day 99, that means $99. And
Mm-hmm.
on down or on up is the place. So for anybody to do that in 100 days, is really pushing it because I don't know many people who can go 5 straight days doing 96, 97, 98, 99, and $100 in envelope. That means you put $500 in envelope in a week.
Yeah.
Probably going to take you a little longer to do that.
Yeah. So there we are again. Maybe you can set out to do 100 days, but realistically, Brandis, what could I do? You know what I'm saying? Then get maybe I can get halfway there. I'm gonna say 100. I'm gonna put 100 envelopes to the side, but I'm gonna say I know I can commit to doing this.
Right.
But even
But
that could be bad thought thinking process. Someone could say,
well,
well,
you got to
telling
out
yourself that you're not gonna do 100. You're already saying you're not gonna do
you got to outsmart the process.
it.
See, that's the key. They explained it to you that way, but you got to outsmart the process. In other words, if this is the 20th day of the challenge
Mm-hmm.
and I just happen to have a spare $100,
Oh, day
do the
100?
$100
Yeah.
because you
I might
check
even
off
go
the date
backwards.
and then just jump around.
Yeah.
However
Yeah.
your money is
It's
feeling.
working, looking for you. Yeah. And then save those
Right.
smaller envelopes for, a
For
trying
later,
time.
for when it's right, when
Holiday time. Yeah. I mean, we wouldn't get to it. No,
right.
we
So
wouldn't be back in
don't
the holidays. But in either way, yeah.
right
Somebody that might 100, I might need to start at 100 and work backwards
and
while
work
I'm
backwards.
motivated.
Yeah,
I got the
right.
gumption to do it.
Because you'll be more likely to have $20 to put in an envelope than you will 100.
Yeah.
So when you have that 100 that you can use,
Go ahead and
go ahead and use it.
envelope it up.
Right. And then pill around it, get your $2 and your $3, and then look up. Oh, I got $99. I could or another 100,
Yeah.
and do it again. And because you got to be smart with that. That's being intentional
Mm-hmm.
with the goal setting,
Yep.
because the big picture, and you can really cheat the system, but it's when you cheat the system, you tend to lose the discipline for the system. It's $5,050. So let's just, for you lottery players out there, let's just say you win $5,000 in the lottery, and you take that and boom, I'm done for the whole year. But are you really? Because there's no discipline in that.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful that we are intentional, and we are disciplined, and we are crafty enough to stick with the goal, but not necessarily. And I think that's what they were saying, that intentions are more qualitative and open ended.
Yeah.
So I'm still doing the getting to the goal,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm not getting to it in a linear fashion. I'm still participate.
Still in. Don't take me out. I'm
Yeah,
still
still
in.
in. But like when they say in church, hey, anybody can give $1,000, come on over here. No, I can't give you $1,000. I
Yeah.
can work my way to it, but I can't get to you today.
Yeah. But then
So
that's when they also got intentional and smart, right, about it. Get together, two people, $50. We got 100. So, the concepts are all there. There are ways to it, but I do see the value, and writing it down literally. If you're a visual person, you're seeing it every day. A vision board, you're looking at it every day. It's
hopefully,
motivating you. you know it's challenging you, or you're looking at it and it's frustrating you because you see yourself not making
I'm
progress. So
making progress. And then
something
so
about it is triggering some kind of push
right,
forward.
so then you stop going in that room.
Okay, you might hear repeat.
Right. But the key is that you got to push. You got to push through it.
Oh yeah, uncomfortable. Yeah,
If
it's
if
so
right,
very
if it's something that you really want, then you have to sacrifice something that you don't really need. And if you do that, then you can get to
repetition. That repetition
right,
use it for you.
right, right. But you got to be intentional. You have to be. So, like Brandon said, maybe, maybe we gave you a thought that you didn't think about, or maybe we reinforced one that you had. But at the end of the day, Everybody has something about themselves that they want to change, whether they want to admit it or not. And the crazy part, if you don't, if you think you don't, maybe that's what you need to change.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, because stuff changes every day when we're dealing with people and we're not dealing with people. It changes every day. Oh, real quick, real quick. Notre Dame beat Georgia.
Oh, I
and
didn't put my 50 cent on them.
and you know what? All the teams that had a first round bye have been
Hmm.
eliminated.
Oh, wow.
The top four seeds have all been eliminated.
Were y'all practicing or chilling?
Well, that week off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Was they working out or chilling, celebrating?
Right. So yeah, so we gotta be real careful. We gotta be real careful. And we gotta keep believing that it's possible if we are willing to take the challenge on. It is possible. And in fact, it is almost inevitable that if we keep shooting for the prize, we're going to eventually hit it. So that's what we need to do. And call it what you want to call it, resolution, goal, intention, whatever you want to call it that. Whatever makes it easier for you to stick with it,
Yep.
call it that. But by all means, stick with it.
Stick with it. Stick with it.
Yeah. Anything else, Brandis?
No,
Yeah,
that's it. That's
that's
all
it.
I got.
All right. First show of the new year.
In the books.
In the
We did
books.
it. We did
Oh,
it. Of course, all of you out there listening and watching us live on Facebook right now, if there's topics or things that you'd like to hear about or hear discussed, or conversation you would like to engage in, we would certainly love to hear that from you. So you can always drop us a line on Facebook at Things My Mother Never Told Me. If you're checking us out on YouTube, on there watching it, you can send us a note there as well. We'd love to hear from you. We want to continue forward, keep bringing you good conversation and topics, of course, as well as our guests that will get lined up for you in this new year. And we look forward to being back with you soon.
I couldn't have said it better. And with that, we up out of here. Peace.
Take care.